an ex-hitman, revered for his skill and tenacity, returns from retirement to find the thugs who killed his dog and stole all he owned. Welcome to Movie Recap. In today's video, we will be going through the 2014 action thriller film, John Wick. It's time to recall. Let's get started. Turn on subtitles and spoilers ahead. A car driven by John Wick collides with a wall. Bloodied and injured, he staggers out of the truck. He applies pressure to a wound in his stomach. He views a video of his wife, Helen, on the beach while he crawls to the side. John slouches and closes his eyes. Several days before this, on a cloudy day, John wakes up. He experiences flashbacks of being with Helen, the two of them at dinner, the moment when she faints in his arms. John is then shown with her in a hospital bed. He kisses her forehead and looks at the doctor, who grabs his softboard and walks out. The next shot is of John with a necklace in his hand as he takes out his car. His wife was afflicted with a disease that took her life. The day of her funeral has arrived, and everyone leaves John standing over her grave as a man watches from afar. Following the ceremony, John's old buddy Marcus comes up to him and says that it has been a while. He then asks John how he is holding up, and Marcus says he is just checking up on an old friend. He then says goodbye and leaves. After the service, John is shown at home. He starts to clean up when the bell rings. He opens the door to see a delivery woman standing there. She asks John to sign some papers and hands him a package. It's a little beagle. Helen has left a letter for John. She wrote to him saying that she has accepted her death and that she wants John to love again. Reading the letter, John starts crying. He takes the dog out from its pen and examines its flower-adorned collar, which leads John to the conclusion that Helen named the dog Daisy. He brings the dog a couple of sheets, but the dog doesn't seem to want to get off the bed. However, John picks it up and places it off the bed. The next day, the dog climbs on the bed and wakes John. The dog then follows him all around the house. John pours some cornflakes for himself and the dog and tells it that they are going to buy some proper food for her. He bonds with the puppy, and they spend the day driving around in his vintage 1969 Ford Mustang Mach 1. He pulls over alongside 3 Russian mobsters, including Iosef Tarasov. Iosef approaches John's automobile, compliments it, and then inquires about the price. John responds by saying it's not for sale. Iosef then abuses John in Russian, saying that everything has a price, bitch, but John corrects him by speaking Russian and tells him, not this bitch. Later that day, John takes his car to an abandoned construction area and starts drifting all over the place to vent out his frustration. He almost runs into some trucks, but just stops in time. Daisy needs to relieve herself while John is getting ready for bed, so John takes her downstairs. When they arrive, 2 shadowy guys stand in front of John, while a third grabs a bat and whacks him in the head. One of the men attacks the dog and snaps her neck. One of the men asks to find the keys, and the other responds that he has found them. The guy removes his disguise, revealing himself to be Iosef. Later, when John awakens, he walks up to his lifeless pet and lays next to it as he strokes her head. He buries the dog and then starts cleaning the mess in his house as memories of his wife. Iosef drives John's Mustang to Aurelio's store. Iosef tells Aurelio that he needs some clean papers and a new number plate for the car, but Aurelio recognizes the car right away and demands to know where Iosef obtained it. Aurelio tells him to get out of the shop, but Iosef responds that they own him. Aurelio retorts that he does not work for Iosef, but works with his father, and then hits Iosef in the face. One of Iosef's goons pulls out a gun and points it at Aurelio, but the other one stops him from shooting. Iosef gets up, insults Aurelio, and tells him that he will take his business someplace else. Later, John stops by the shop and inquires about the car. Iosef replies that the car was there and that Iosef is Vigo's son. Vigo phones Aurelio later that night, inquiring as to why he struck Iosef. Aurelio simply replies that it was because Iosef's son took John Wick's car and murdered his dog. Vigo seems worried and goes down to his penthouse, where one of his men congratulates him. However, Vigo tells him that he wants to meet with his son. John enters his basement with a sledgehammer and begins bashing the floor open. He is revealed to have been looking for a cache of weapons and gold coins. Vigo meets with Iosef at his house. He first hands Iosef a drink, and then tells him that he is wearing a nice jacket before punching his kid in the stomach twice to scold him, reminding him of who he had just wronged. Iosef is then told by Vigo that John Wick used to be linked with him until he met Helen and chose to quit. John had a reputation as Baba Yaga, the boogeyman, or rather, as the man who was summoned to assassinate the boogeyman. Vigo tells his son about the time he saw John Wick kill 3 men in a bar with a pencil, and reminds Iosef just how dangerous John Wick is. When John wanted to retire and marry Helen, Vigo gave him an impossible task, which was implied to involve multiple high-level assassinations in a short period of time. To Vigo's surprise, John succeeded. Vigo dials John's number in an attempt to rectify the situation, but John hangs up. That night, Vigo sends a team of 12 hitmen to John's house to kill him. John easily eliminates all of them, battling with the final few before stabbing the last one in the heart. A police officer comes to the front door and knocks. John addresses him by name and inquires whether there has been a noise complaint, referring to the body visible behind John. John claims he's simply figuring things out. The officer bids him farewell and departs. To clean up the area and dispose of the dead, John summons an underworld cleanup team with whom he has previously worked. They seem aware that this will not be the last time they assist him. Vigo approaches Wick's buddy Marcus and offers him a $2 million contract to assassinate John Wick. He also instructs his assistant Avi to put out a request for other people to fill the position. Marcus happily accepts the offer. John checks into the New York Continental Hotel, which caters exclusively to the criminal underworld and permits no assassinations on its premises. He will remain there for the duration of his business trip. Perkins is someone he recognizes. Winston, the manager and owner of the Continental, is another old buddy of John's. When John inquires, Winston informs him that Iosef is at a nightclub called Red Circle. John enters the club where Iosef and his friends are having a good time. He meets an old acquaintance there and tells him to take the day off as the man thanks him. Iosef is enjoying a night of champagne and ladies in a luxurious Russian bathhouse when John murders one of his guys and approaches via the club's bottom floor. When they see John, he starts firing at them while Iosef flees. John kills every hitman in his way, but loses Iosef in a getaway car as he departs. John returns to the Continental to get a gash in his side, sewn up after being stabbed in the stomach. The doctor warns John that if he strains himself too much, his sutures will rip. John claims that the bourbon he purchased earlier would cover the painkiller portion of his rehabilitation. Marcus climbs to the roof of the building across the street late at night and sets his eyes on John, who is sleeping. He notices someone arriving via the mirror and shoots a warning shot at John. Perkins starts firing at John, but he manages to avoid her. She informs him that if she violates the hotel's regulations and murders John for Vigo, she will receive $4 million. John struggles with Perkins until he has her in a headlock and offers her compassion in exchange for information. She tells him that Vigo stores the majority of his assets in a church basement. John knocks Perkins out and leaves her with Harry for one of their organization's gold coins. Perkins is shackled to a chair by Harry, who is unaware that she has dislocated her thumb and is slipping away. She exits the vehicle, covers Harry's face with a pillow, and shoots him. John visits Vigo's hidden stockpile of cash and business documents in the chapel. After shooting the other guards in the church, John compels the priest to lead him to the vault. He dismisses the ladies in the vault and sets fire to the entire structure. Vigo hears about the fire just as he is about to be trapped in a barrage of bullets from John. Despite killing most of Vigo's men, John is knocked unconscious when one SUV collides with another, pushing him to the ground. Vigo apprehends him and questions why he has gone to such lengths for vengeance over a car and a dog. John explains that Iosef took the puppy away from him, which was a gift from his dead wife. He warns Vigo that he has the option of handing Iosef over to him or facing death alongside him. Vigo abandons John to his thugs who suffocate him with a garbage bag. Marcus, watching from the adjacent building, shoots one of the hitmen in the head, allowing John to take out the remaining ones. With only John left alive, he pulls out his revolver and fires at Vigo's escape vehicle. Vigo is forced to inform John that Iosef is hidden at a Brooklyn safe house. Despite the safe house being secured by armed men, John kills them all and storms the property. He destroys all the getaway vehicles with bombs, then catches up to Iosef, putting a bullet in his stomach and shooting him in the head. Perkins learns that John and Marcus have been in contact and informs Vigo. Consequently, Vigo sends his thugs to Marcus's house in retaliation for Iosef's death and for failing to kill John. They thrash Marcus until Vigo and Perkins arrive and fatally shoot him. Just as Vigo is about to leave the house, he calls John and tells him that he has killed his friend. Vigo then heads to a helicopter that is going to take him away from the city, planning for John to come to Marcus's house where Perkins will ambush him. Perkins is summoned to a meeting with Winston, the proprietor of the Continental Hotel, while waiting for John to arrive at Marcus's house. At the Bethesda Arcade in Central Park, she meets Winston and 4 other men. Winston informs her that she has disobeyed Continental regulations and that her membership has been revoked. The four men then execute her. As Winston leaves, he encounters the same cleaner who helped John remove the assassin's remains from his home and gives him a few pennies. When John discovers Marcus's body, he sets out to assassinate Vigo. He spots Vigo and his men on their way to the chopper and attempts to slam his car into them. Vigo orders Avi to assassinate John, only for John's automobile to crash into him. Vigo tries to force John's car off the cliff, but John survives. The two then battle hand-to-hand in the rain. Vigo tries to attack John, but John pulls the blade into himself to gain leverage and break Vigo's arm, then grabs the knife from his stomach and stabs Vigo in the neck. He abandons Vigo to his fate. We return to the opening scene as John continues to bleed. Motivated by seeing the video of Helen, he enters a dog shelter to treat his knife wound. He then adopts a pit bull puppy and brings him home with him. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and click the bell icon to get new movie recaps.